PP.
What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, dude? Let me get your make sure your audio's good. Dude, what the fuck is up?
Yeah, that's a
Dude.
great question. That's probably the question of questions right now, huh?
Well, no, I just mean in the most general sense. Cause dude, I was watching some of that footage
Uh-huh.
from the doc and like the interviews. I remember because you came to NorCal like 2015 or 16. I feel like that was the last time we really spoke at length. That was like it was such a good time.
It really is something I miss, being around everyone, being around so many wonderful people, and the energy of events, which I guess is a problem for everyone right now. Everyone's kind of lived like me for the past few months.
Yeah, we're living
But
the PP life.
yeah, I mean, um, I've been able to adapt to this a lot more. But I mean, you know, it's wonderful to be around people. It's wonderful to talk to so many insightful people, and even just to be around people like Mango or Armada or whoever that are so skilled, and you can just kind of feel that. Like, it's not even something that you can necessarily, like, yes, you can know and you can see it in their skill and everything, but you can feel something just like almost coming off of them. And I think that's wonderful to just kind of experience. And then they can feel you, and then I guess I could
Dude,
pull it further, but it sounds weird.
yeah, if there was one God, yeah, no, it's if there was one thing that just every episode of the doc, I'm just like, man, I miss events. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, it
I've been
was
missing some events, man. The events are so sick, man. Playing Melee, seeing people. I mean, I walked up a
oh.
mountain once in Europe. It was weird, but we did it.
Apparently so
You
did
know,
Armada while Mango was playing beer pong.
well,
um
his
dude,
mountain had railings, so it was nice.
if there, well, so I was talking to Bobby Scar last night, and he kind of painted the picture of the era of the five gods. He kind of crowned it that because he was fascinated
Yes.
by the five fighting game gods from Japan, right? And
Yeah, and he did such a good job blending that in with the donation drive and really building something. I think
mhm.
that was is really wonderful crafting he did.
If there was, if there was one thing that we kind of agreed, like there was some of this in the doc, but I could have even used a little more of. It was like they said a lot. The five gods were better than everyone else, but like the feeling of fighting one of you guys as someone who wasn't a god. Okay, you probably don't remember the set. I'm gonna pay you more compliments. I'm about to pay you more compliments.
Well, thank you again. I appreciate that.
So I played you in pools at a Canadian tournament. I think it was an Impulse. I think it was Impulse 2013, and I
I was
remember.
involved in 2012 only, I believe.
Okay, 2012. Yeah. Okay, one of those two. And if you remember, then that was the one, because I don't remember the
Yeah,
numbers very well.
yeah.
And I remember you beat my ass so fast. I've never felt so fucking lost.
Oh, really?
It was like a 3 minute set. I mean, it was really bad. It was the last set in the pools. It didn't matter too much because I was getting out either way. It's round robin.
Uh-huh.
You beat me so bad, and then like I don't know, whoever I was. I think I was there with Otto, and he's like, "Are you trying to get some food?" Because like it was like lunchtime or whatever. And I was like, yeah, let's let's go get some food. I need to go for a walk after that.
Right, yeah.
It was bad. And
Yeah, and
sorry, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, it's not my intent to disorient anyone or to make them have a bad day.
No,
I'm just trying to do my
it was
best.
great. That was why the narrative of the gods existed, is because all of us had played you guys, and like it was just so hard. It was so much harder than anything else you ever experienced in any video game, and
Thank you.
yeah, I almost wish there was a little more of that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that would have been really interesting because there was like always like a bit of talk of it, but I am, I wonder how many of the top 20s of the past would have been willing to say,
Oh, my
well,
physics
I think I
sucks.
could take them, but they did get me there. I don't know if they've been as willing to say
JFF,
it,
thank
but
you for 2 to 1.
I do like the idea a lot, and I
I
do
did
think
mute.
that would have cemented that a little more. But I think the idea is still there, right? Like, well, at least he had the graphic and he had
Yeah.
Scar and you talking about it. So I mean, it wasn't like it wasn't mentioned. But yeah, I agree. Playing that up more would have been great.
Yeah, and I mean, again, it's a nit, like but I do want to emphasize that, because like for the
Yeah.
people like who are watching this for the first time, like there's a lot of people in chat that kind of unfamiliar faces. I think
Mm,
for both of us, and yeah, like
yeah.
it was fucking brutal. This guy Kevin was really fucking good. I was talking to Oscar about it. I was at Summit, as a matter of fact, where I was at Summit 10, and we started talking about Fox Falco, and it was like and Oscar said the same thing. He's like, yeah, the worst I ever lost to anybody was PP. I
Do
just
you
wanted to,
mind if
yeah.
I ask you do you mind if I ask you a question to go
Go ahead.
to a different angle?
Absolutely.
And and I don't mean to do this to put you on the spot. I really am. I'm just genuinely kind of curious if anything has changed or anything.
No, no, no. Go ahead.
Uh, yeah. Samox visited me. I think it was 2016, may have been 2017, for some more information.
Uh huh.
Um, and to get a little more, and that's where we got a lot of shots of my house and everything. He
Right.
comes back and he tweets. I talked to this guy PP, and I know a lot of people are doubting, but this guy is not done with melee.
Hmm.
Um, and do you remember responding to that?
Uh, no, I don't.
Okay, fair enough. And I don't think this is unfair, but this was very hard for me at the time, and so I think about it a lot, and I want to think about like what you were thinking then and now, if that's okay. If
Yeah.
it's not,
No, it is
I didn't
okay.
mean. Again, I'm not trying to cause problems.
No, you,
I just
dude,
wanted to.
you're not causing any problems. I'm
Okay.
super down to talk about anything, dude. I'm
Yeah,
trying to get personal.
sure, sure, man. And
Yeah.
as you can see from the doc, I do love it. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, your response was, "I'll believe it when I see it," which is not unfair.
Right.
It's not an unreasonable thing to say, and I knew many people were thinking it,
I
but
think
it was still hard, and I don't think that you meant anything negative by it. It was just tough.
no, I meant the opposite, man. I wanted to. If you saw that, I wanted that to be like a, like a spur, like a call to, like a, oh, this. Yeah, because here's the thing, right? Different
Mm,
people respond differently to stimuli like that. Like a guy like it could be. I mean, it could be anybody. A guy like Mango or something, right? You might say something like
mm,
that. You might think,
yeah, yeah.
that's how you rile someone up. Oh, you try to see me fuck some people up. All right, I'll prove it to you.
Mm,
And I don't know.
I see.
I don't think we were super tight at that time. Like if this was like 2016, I honestly I don't know if you'd come to NorCal even yet for the Foundry and stuff like that. So
No,
my
that was
intent, if anything,
okay.
my intent was definitely like,
Gotcha,
I want to,
gotcha.
and it wasn't, but I mean well, I mean, I apologize. I didn't want it
Oh,
to
no,
be a hard thing for you. For sure.
now that I know
Yeah.
that was your intent, that I mean, that changes everything already. And again, maybe this wasn't the best thing to do publicly, so I
Uh-huh.
apologize for that. But
Oh, I don't
um,
care.
I'm glad to know that that was a supportive comment, and I think that's wonderful.
I told
And
you could thank Ludwig, by the way, for aiding you.
yeah, I was
You
just
just go and
about
do
to.
that. Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you so much,
Thank you,
Ludwig, for the
Ludwig.
raid. I hope your stream was fantastic. Welcome, Ludbuds, to the stream. Ludwig Sevens in chat, or whatever your favorite Ludwig emote is.
Oh, before I'm gonna fucking forget if I don't say this just right now. I have to do this now. Okay, I have to
None.
say this now, or I'm gonna forget.
That's okay.
Thank you for the Toho shoutouts. Thank you.
Dude.
I started playing, dude. I started playing Toho on my stream. I started playing
Yeah?
it on my stream. Yeah, very recently. As in, like the day I did an extra run, my first time streaming Toho, the day before Metagame was Thursday, and then I watched it. I was like, oh, the timing is just so.
Oh my god. Dude, hey, well, hey, there's the plug. You guys want to know what music I'm about, what activates something in me that nothing else really does? Go to my man Toph BBQ's
Let's fucking
stream.
go, dude.
No
Dude,
worries.
but no, I kind of vaguely remember that, and I remember the because I've always been, and I'm bummed you had that take away from it, but yeah, I guess it's a reminder that different people respond to things differently because like
And I think that's good, right? I think it's good that we had the conversation and we remember that this is different. I mean, something I talked about in that video I uploaded was there's a great sensitivity I have to just a lot of things, and I assume that
mm,
everyone has that, but they don't. And
they
that's what
manifest
people.
it differently, is what it
Yes,
is, right?
people have feelings, and I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying that like many things will go very deep for me, and I'll respond to a whole lot. I was watching a Bobby Fischer documentary, and it was very interesting. In his big match, he was talking about how he was very sensitive to the noise that the cameras were giving off. He was talking about like how much that was affecting him. They had to go to a sealed room and
Mhm.
stuff like that. It was, and so I think there's like and he struggled with fame as well. It really reminded me, and again, how much he was isolated. Like I really saw a lot of myself in him, and
Yeah.
I also saw like the effects that fame have on people, and that's something that wasn't really discussed directly at all in this documentary. But it's a real challenge, and I'm sure you know that as well, being a big time commentator, pretty much one of the two big ones currently. Like pretty much your voice is melee for a lot of people, and
Mhm.
so I'm sure that has to have some type of effect. Some people it'll display differently, but I think that that would be something great to talk about, especially in like the streaming boom
Yeah.
and everything. I think that's a really interesting topic. What do you think about that?
I think you're on the nose, and you're exactly right. When I started commentating, it was very tough for me because there was always, I mean, yeah, you go on a big stream, like especially a big tourney stream, and like when people don't know who you are, they're very tough to you. And I quickly
Mm.
learned I had to build a very thick skin, and I couldn't look at Twitch chat because people, when you're a new commentator, yeah, people are really shitty in Twitch chat to you. That's just how it is. And
Oh yeah.
there will always be a kind of a level of, the way I always felt was, because I was never able to become like a top 10 or top 20 player. I was in my peak, I was top 100. I was in the 80s, 90s. For the period that I was
Right.
really good.
Right.
And I always felt like I had to take a back seat to like in terms of the respect that Reddit or Twitch chat will give you. It's like, okay, but if a top player has anything to say, you better shut up and listen. You better kind of. And there was always kind of that feeling in the back of my mind when I would look at Twitch chat or Reddit where it was like, well, the commentators, they kind of know what they're talking about, but they better shut up when it comes to the real nitty gritty of Super Smash Bros. Melee, stuff like that. That's like a very common recurring feeling, I feel like.
It's very tough. I mean, the Melee community, I mean, if the past 3 days have taught us anything, they can really be out here.
Yeah.
And this is not always a bad thing. I think Melee, the game has such high standards for the people that play and for how much you can put into it and how much you can be in it. And it makes sense that they want absolutely perfect documentaries. They want absolutely perfect commentary, and I get it. But there's also kind of like, at the same time, there's also kind of like this weird roughness to us, and this is partly certainly a Nintendo related thing, because we're just kind of doing it somehow. We're just flying by the seat of our pants in another way. But I think, like, something I really kind of think can be our strength is we can shape so much of what we want in the community. Like, there was feedback on our documentary, and now the documentary is going to change. Like, maybe that happens in like League of Legends. I don't know, but it seems really unique and interesting to me.
Yeah.
I almost wanted to make the joke when Samwalk said, I'm going to rework section. I said he's going to need a really long list of writers now in his credits.
People forget that this was largely a solo project. Like, he had Alpha Zealot as like a producer, but I mean, yeah, when he flew out to NorCal, it was him, just him. And he's been working on this for so long. And that was kind of, like, I'm always down to give benefit of the doubt for, like, look, if this is a project that took a long time, there's a lot of shit that this guy had to do behind the scene. Or
he had to rework it so many times too. Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of questions I have about Twitch after looking at some more like business side content and everything. And I'm like, I don't know, man, but I don't know. I guess like it helps them out a lot to run the ads too. So I think it's like just good for everyone. So I'm definitely down.
Yeah, you would think. You
would think.
There's no. I think you're on the money with the questions about Twitch thing, man. It's yeah. Twitch doesn't have the greatest. It's kind of been the story of 2020. Is these corporations that are kind of making questionable decisions, or not moving quickly enough, not doing enough. That's
my, and that is a large conversation in itself. I mean, again, I will say this, there has been a real benefit to Nintendo leaving us alone. I think about, I really remember when, this is going to sound a little weird, but I remember when there was a discussion someone had about how soccer started getting broadcast in the US. I apologize to everyone that calls it football. You're going to have to deal with it. When soccer started getting broadcasted, because soccer was this global sport, it was this big sport, the American broadcasters couldn't come to it and do it like they did football, where it's just an ad every 2 minutes. And so the people said, if you want to broadcast our sport, you will run it our way. You will do ads at the beginning and end. You could put stuff around the field if you want. Maybe if there's a timeout or something, but otherwise you're going to do it our way. And that's what the American broadcasters did. And so what I think about a lot when I think about Nintendo is I want us to have that conversation. The way I feel about it, maybe this isn't true, maybe this won't be how it works out, but the way I like to imagine it is we build up our strength. And if there's ever a point, and I think the value of esports will be too high eventually, there may be a day where Nintendo comes to the table. I want us to say, you're going to do it our way.
That is the sickest.
I think it's super sick.
That is the sickest parallel. Yeah, because soccer, I mean, competitive soccer can pull that off because soccer's fucking huge. And if we get fucking huge enough, like at a certain point, that's such a good parallel. Yeah, that does feel like the goal right now. And I definitely think we're closer to that now than ever before. I mean, we've got people like Ludwig, right? We've got people in our, Ninja watches Melee.
Yes.
There's a lot of what's the way to put it? Like influencer marketing is bigger than ever. And I, back in 2013, 14, 15, that really wasn't the case. Right? We didn't have anybody, right? Mango was just starting out streaming, let alone, right? And no one else was really even doing it.
The thing, I don't know if anyone's pointed this out. Mango's sub count from 2014 still bobs mine, still bobs most people's. Like,
it's true.
I mean, he just had. I mean, when Twitch was just so much smaller, even and Melee was, I mean, still doing great and was blowing up and everything. But, dude, I mean, absolutely incredible what he was doing. Absolutely incredible.
With no Twitch Prime,
no Twitch Prime. That's true. That's true. Everyone had to pay for it. Ugh, can you imagine, chat? Probably not. They're all imagining the ads again right now, I think.
Yeah. It was it was a different time. And Mango's kind of always had that going for him. Like his like sub to viewer ratio has always been really, really good.
I mean, I think that he was almost like an anomaly at Twitch. Like his ratio was just like even among like a lot of the larger streamers, like he just had something going for him. Very impressive. Very impressive. Moki just lost a lot. Are the qualifiers going on now? I don't mean to cut you off. I was just curious.
Oh yeah, no, I'm kind of curious too, if I'm being honest. I might like put it on just to have it on in the background, like while we're talking.
Ooh.
I've got your stream on. Like I'm kind of like looking at your stream.
Thank you.
Yeah, I might like also. Oh, well, it's kind of cool because then we have my chat and then I can look at your chat too.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's.
What is it? Is it Brandon's channel? Hey, chat, should I show PP the fucking Ludwig's greatest thing he's ever done? Should I show him that? Would PP get a kick out of that?
I'm watching an ad.
It came full circle.
I'm one of you guys.
It came full circle. We're all watching ads together. PP, I found earlier, I was talking about, okay, so this is just a complete random aside. We're watching the end of the doc, right? And it ends with the where are they now? And then it shows like basically 5 gods, it shows left, and then it shows chilling, right? It's like oh cool. I'm glad we got chilling in there.
I wonder if Samox was wondering if like the way Chillin would be portrayed would be a problem. Like he'd be like, oh, and Chillin did all that talk and he dropped the diss track and then what happened, right? And then that's the end of it. I wonder if he wanted the story to be a little more interesting. I don't know, but I love that there was more Chillin performances and that and like almost in a way like it is a bit of almost like redemption for Leffen a bit too. He's hugging Chillin and he's kind of smiling. It's still a bit of a smirk, but he's kind of smiling. And so I think
those guys have gotten a lot. I think.
No, the reason I say that for Leffen is because there was so much talk about he's the worst thing since unsliced bread.
Right. Say unsliced bread.
I did say that. That's probably the first time I've ever done that. If it catches on, go for it. Use it.
I'm gonna steal it. Yeah.
Go for it. Yeah. So, so I like that was a bit of a upswing for Leffen. I like that Chillin kind of, I guess, embraced the meme or just like didn't fall apart from it, So I mean, shout outs to all that. I was a bit concerned seeing the where are they now with like there was the Apex win and then I mean it's kind of like I don't know if you heard my conversation with Ludwig, but
a bit. A bit.
Yeah, no, it's fine. You're doing your own thing too. But he said, I thought after the dog, I was kind of, it almost seemed like I was expecting you to win everything after that. And I was like, oh, okay. And so, the where are they now kind of like puts, it makes the ending very, I think almost like a little confusing, but I think that's, it's all fine. And certainly I have zero issue. Like if I had any issue, it'd be the most minor stuff about like how I was portrayed. I was actually answering some chat questions about like the beard or whatever, because that never got talked about. Or Apex and Skatar, Apex 2014 and Skatar wins that never got talked about. So there are some things that I get to kind of talk about because I was like, well, because Samox and he's talked about this a few times. We talked for hours and hours and hours and hours. More footage from anything else because I went into it, and I mean it's no secret that I've been such a private person for so long that that when Sandbox came to me, I said, I want to be honest. I want to have my story told. I feel like this is the moment. This is the time. I feel like so many things have come together for me. I want to do it. And so I think he really honored that feeling. And I
Right.
mean, I also just think I gave him a lot of stuff that really worked, and a lot of people related to it. And like I was telling Lud, I've had chats closed all weekend. I was super tense, so incredibly tense leading up to it.
Uh-huh.
I
Uh-huh.
had I had the person I was talking to for my health on retainer, and I don't like to bother them because they're very very busy.
Okay.
And they said if you really need to, you can message me. And I did Saturday because I was very concerned about because I was like worried about like how Mango was gonna react to some of the things I said, and I was worried about like the stuff
Mm,
the doc at the time, and I was absolutely freaking out. But luckily, it seems like things have mostly worked out. I don't know what is happening in the Twitterverse. I rarely know what is happening in the Twitterverse because
sure.
I'm trying to take care of my mental health as well. But I didn't know that was going on, and I hope I hope people it gets to a good enough place where people can support it all right. You know.
Yeah, I think it worked out for I think it worked out for Mango even. I think it worked out for literally everyone except maybe Leffen, who
Oh
I
man.
feel bad for Leffen. I do feel bad for Leffen. But I do think it's it's some easy edits and if
Sure.
if Sandbox wants to do so. I mean this is the okay, it goes without saying the one thing that everyone's memeing on, which was actually very funny
Oh, is it?
if you take
Yeah.
an objective look at it. It's no like the people are memeing on the sad music. Where it was like,
Oh,
he'd be playing Armada or whatever, and this sad music
it
starts playing. You're
it's
like,
it's very
well, I
interesting.
guess Leffy
Samwalk
wins
said,
this
"I
set.
didn't." Yeah, it really is odd. And Samwalk said, I didn't think it was sad when I did it. And he shopped it around. Obviously, we don't know to who, but he shopped it around some, and it's very interesting. Given what he's going for, I understand why it's sad.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I mean, again, Sandbox is someone that I think is really trying to push a narrative
Oh, interesting.
outside of our community, and it's not like, and he wasn't like being totally inaccurate. I mean, I think there were people that were sad, but he also put in. I think he.
Huh,
Well,
that's if
if
any.
I'm allowed to spoil, he did rework the episodes that aired today a little bit to show that there were people that were getting excited
That's cool.
about him winning. Um, and I don't know if that was mentioned or talked about by anyone, but Samox, he's not a monster. He's not trying to get anyone hated.
Yeah,
He's just it's just he wanted that Leffen narrative, and I think he might have pushed for it at a bit too much of an expense, unfortunately.
yeah,
But I think
yeah.
overall
No,
his idea is pure.
it's. I feel so bad for Samox that he feels stressed, and I want to say this to you too. Like I saw your I watched most of your response. I actually stopped watching it because you started talking to Ludwig on stream, so I changed to
Mhm.
that instead. But no, I mean, I feel terrible that it almost felt like you were like apologizing for kind of the way your arc was portrayed, and it sucks that you feel like you need to apologize. Like you don't need to apologize, man. You just be
There,
yourself, you know.
yeah,
And I felt that was
and I
so.
don't, yeah,
Please don't feel that way. No one,
yeah. Thank you,
everyone thinks you're a fucking hero, man.
thank you, man.
Like yeah, it's and I want to make clear to my viewers too. Like I think Sandbox is a fucking legend. Like yeah,
I do too.
I have some legit criticisms. Whatever. I think the music was very sad. I would have made it. I would have if it was me personally. I would have kept the dark vibe from Leffen. I would have made it more like an angry kind of dark because it was more
Yeah,
angry than sad.
I think the angry that was an edgy lad too, wasn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
Can we say that now? Now that it's been
Still
a
kind
few
of
years,
is.
can we say
I think
that?
we can. I think we can call him an
Okay,
edgy lad.
okay.
You know. Yeah, but whatever, right? Like, yeah, no, Sandbox is a fucking. I mean, we're so blessed to have a storyteller like him in our community. Like,
Yes.
most communities don't get a Sandbox.
One of the things in my video that I was really glad to see, or not, one of the things I mentioned was
Mm.
because like Armada also kept to himself so much. He was also very private in much of the way that I was. Um,
Yeah.
so for him, I guess, and me to both make that decision, it was probably to a varying extent. I think I went balls deep in it,
Mhm.
but he's still like, I had never seen Baby Armada before. When I saw that, I actually screamed, "Oh my gosh!"
Right?
I know, I lost my mind. I lost my mind when I saw Baby Armada,
Dude,
and then they were talking about how I was as a kid. I was like, "No way!"
he he is he I this is why I'm so thankful that I went to a couple kind of European tournaments in the era after he kind of stopped entering singles. And I was so thankful because he really lets that part of himself. I remember hanging out with him at DreamHack and at Air and getting to see him at a tournament where he doesn't enter singles. He's a very, he's more open and he's more jovial and, he's drinking with the lads and all this stuff. And I was really, I felt so in that moment. I was like, this is so cool to be able to see this side of Armada because I really don't think a lot of people get to see this.
That's true. I mean, even when he was a kid, by the way, he had that serious face, right?
Yeah, he did.
It takes something special.
It
takes something special for him to metaphorically let the hair down.
Right. And then later, literally, when he had the mullet for a little bit, I remember.
Right. I didn't everything change for him when he cut the hair. I don't remember if it was perfectly like that or there was a tournament after, but I almost made a tweet about it because I was very curious if the hair was what was holding him back.
The hair was the second place curse.
Yes, the weighted clothing was taken off. I wasn't sure,
dude. Yeah, but he looked good in the doc. By the way, those were like he had a nice haircut. I feel like in the doc.
He was looking good. He had the good haircut. Lighting.
Yep.
And he was doing a great job in the interviews as well. And again, knowing more about him, I think was a real treat because he is someone. I mean, he's almost forced to be isolated because he just lives in Sweden and it's far away from people and everything. And then there's just also kind of like the way that he's kind of grown around that. I think it was really cool.
Yeah.
I think his story, I mean, like Samox was saying, he almost made it the Armada documentary, and then he almost made it the Armada and Me documentary and whatever, right? Like he just was really blown away by Armada's story. And so I'm so glad it got to be told. Because Armada is someone that has struggled with community opinion. Because he was never like the most outgoing or whatever. He came, got the dub, and he left.
Yep.
And maybe you didn't like the way he did it perfectly or whatever, but that was his thing.
But you had to respect it.
Right. I mean, but some people were like, well, he's boring or whatever.
Yeah, Peach, Young Link versus Puff, hour-long set, Yeah, it was really cool to get to see that side. I just thought of there's this story from one of the DreamHacks that I thought was so in that moment I thought it was so perfect. So the DreamHacks were those were a tournament series, DreamHack Sweden, where I went kind of as part of Twitch. So there was like a Twitch party and all this stuff because it's like a big esports thing, right?
Yo, let's go rolling through with Twitch.
And it was really cool because at the I don't remember which year this was, but one of the first of all, one of the after parties, some of Armada's actual siblings showed up that I not besides Android and Aniolas, and also like his girlfriend was there, and I got to hear this story. So apparently that weekend, his girlfriend was not going to show up to the event. Okay, it was going to be Armada. This was Armada actually. I think he won this one over Leffen, and it was and he entered singles. This was during his era where he was entering. And his girlfriend was gonna not show up at first. The plan was she wasn't really gonna go because it's a ways away. It's like 3 hours away from where they live. It's a trip. It's a trip. And she wasn't gonna go initially. She was just gonna stay home. But then she decided to surprise him apparently. And so apparently Armada was taking
really cute, by the way.
Right. For that in itself is really cute. So Armada at DreamHack, and DreamHack is a convention. It's a very, if you've seen any of the footage from DreamHack, it's a very like there's a lot of people and there's all kinds of setups everywhere, and it's got booths and computers as far as the eye can see. So it's very, very lots of people, huge venue, right? And apparently Armada, she was telling this story at the after party. So she was trying to sneak up on Armada and surprise him, and it was during top 8, I think. And it was between his matches. So he was walking around, maybe he was trying to get some water or just trying to stretch his legs. And he was walking around the venue and he caught a whiff of a perfume that he remembered he bought her. And he was like, I recognize this scent because I picked this out for her. And he looked around and he found his girlfriend. And she was unable to surprise him because he remembered the perfume scent. And and she was telling the story and I was like, how is Armada just fucking Mr. Perfect in every way? Like, what the fuck? Like, it's like, that's like the most Mr. Perfect fucking story. So her plan to surprise him failed because he sniffed around with the perfume.
Dude, Armada's, all of his senses are heightened. He is a competitive machine. He smells the fear in his opponents.
Apparently also the perfect boyfriend.
Love life going way too well. That's a alpha power up.
I was just like, this is so fucking and he doesn't like and people don't get to see that side of him most of the time. And it was something so special. I'm so glad the doc captured some of that stuff.
Yeah. Also,
but,
people in
like,
chat said
dude.
Swedish and Swedish schnoz, and I'm losing my mind.
That's real. The Swedish schnoz, dude. The Swedish sniffer, dude. I was gonna my chat was reminding me earlier. I was gonna show you what I thought was Ludwig's finest work. I gotta show you Ludwig's finest work because it is very pertinent. Many years ago, before he was Ludwig, he posted it on the Unfiltered Toph account, which he ran, which was my parody account.
Let me know when to go. You can count down if you want.
Okay, I'll count down. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Clutches. All right, let's go.
Yep.
Oh my gosh,
dude, it's so good.
Oh my god, dude.
Cause you're like watching, you're like, all right, Leffen, is gonna be next or whatever.
Except that he's just way too good at this. That is insane.
The dankest timeline, dude. No, and I was describing this video in my chat earlier, and I was like, yeah, who the fuck made that? Was it like Shannondorf? Was it who made that? And someone linked it, and I was like, it was Ludwig? Like Ludwig made that video? My whole world.
There you go. I dropped you the link.
Yeah, it's so good. It's like the timing on it. We should have known when that tweet was made. We should have known what Ludwig's trajectory would be.
Yeah,
it's like too good.
I ended up getting asked about Zain in the pre-interview yesterday, which I think is just really cool, right? Zain's just been he's doing a lot for the game right now, and I really like how it's hard in some ways to talk about the kind of era since I think the doc concluded up until now, but I think someone that's going to really shape whatever is coming and is kind of already happened is Zain, and I think him doing what he's doing and establishing all that and the respect. I mean, someone said in chat earlier the respect he's given to me on his way up, is also kind of a very interesting parallel. And so I like that there is something that's really coming up. And Zain was a doc kid, and so I think about what are the doc kids 2 going to do, and will we have an eventual crew battle in 10 years where the 2 doc kids face off against each other, the doc adults?
Ooh,
I'm interested. For it.
So yesterday I was talking with Bobby on an Atriarch on stream, and I was kind of this is actually, I think this is really pertinent to ask you because I have this theory kind of observing the top players today, and I want to know if you think this is like, if there's any credence to this or if it's just like hokey bullshit. Like, I want to hear it from you. Like, just tell me if I'm like making shit up.
Whatever you're about to ask you, I will be 100% honest.
Perfect. So like, okay, so I think one thing that we've kind of observed, and you even spoke about this in the metagame doc, is like the top players do kind of osmose some culture from each other. Like, Mango being the abrasive dude that he was back then. Like, I think a lot of the scene, yourself included, but I think a lot of us kind of took that from him. And another thing that I kept noticing in this particular doc was like the top players, actually not even the top players, because it was like this for me too, as a top 100 player. We took losses hard. And I think back then, like, I think there are a couple factors. I think one is we didn't have, it felt like as a player, it was so do or die. Like, if you didn't win, like, you didn't have streaming to fall back on. It was like,
you also had several months where everyone would say, wow, you
no
really
tournament
lost in this way. And like, they would, because like you would just have those videos from 6 months ago.
Right.
Like,
nowadays, you got another tournament next weekend. Often.
Right. And so if you get mad, you just run that junk back. And it's never.
So I think there are a couple reasons. I think as a community, I really do think, because I was kind of musing to my chat. I was like, I do think that this was actually an accurate portrayal of like, we were all sad back then when we lost. Like, I think sadder than today. I think when I look at, you know, today's top players, you know, Mango and Leffen even, like, they take losses better today than they used to. I think they just straight up do. I think they're bummed for a little bit, but they you know, people don't seem to have as much existential dread over their losses. And I think we've all grown up, and I think that's a big part of it. I also think, however, that Zain in particular, and I spoke with this on the last episode of the reads we did in person with Bobby. I think Zain in particular has been really good about not like tying his, I don't know, like tying his self-worth to his results or whatever. Like, it feels like Zain bounces back better than anybody. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like he's always like, when he loses, he's like, well, I got to get better. I got to do better next time. I've never seen him emo. I don't know. Like, for lack of a better term, it feels like he's down to earth about it. And I do wonder, if Zain being the guy to beat right now, that aspect of him and his ability to take losses well is actually creeping somewhat to the other top players. I don't know. I don't know if that's, and that's what I wanted to ask you. Do you think that's kind of hokey, or do you think that's does that make any sense? I don't know.
It does make sense. So just to make sure I understand, you're saying Zain, the way he handles things is influencing some of the other players.
Yeah. So
my first point to that is, I don't watch as much of, I'm not as familiar with all the culture and the tweets and everything now. Because again, I'm so internally focused and trying not to let anything catch me one way or another. What I will say is, there are things that can confound this. The first is the streams. I've heard Mango say, or at least someone's told me, but I'm pretty sure I've heard Mango say that like, losing still really hurts, but you come back and you have the 9K subs and you have everyone that's supporting you. And it really does make a difference, right? Like,
yeah, I think so.
And, you know, like, this is something like, I'm going to talk about what you said. Okay, so there was the past, and then everyone took losses really hard, and now they don't so much. And one reason that I think it was partly really hard is there wasn't a good like support system for anyone like really well back then. But now people in your streams, and I don't think people are necessarily going to like lie or whatever, but they're going to say like, you know, I still think you're great. People are not going to leave you. Like, it's okay to not put all this pressure on yourself and all this stuff. And I do think that has an effect as well right now. And so, because I think so much about the importance of support, just generally, because so much time I've spent being isolated, and so much of what has helped me has been a person that's really supported me a whole lot, and modeled happiness for me and stuff like that. So that's kind of the first thing I think of. But do I know for sure if that is true? I don't. However, I think if it's one of those things where like Armada won a lot in the past, and we didn't really start acting like Armada. So that's my first like,
that's a good point. That's
potential point. It's the other point is, what if let's be honest with ourselves. What if Zain what if like things are different now, like we're more aware and matured more in a lot of other things, and there's a lot more focus on inner work and things like that, partly from me, partly from just like their esports teams, and I believe Leffen has a coach of some sort for this as well. And so I think that there's just more of an emphasis on this. It wouldn't be surprising to me if people were freaking uwu. It wouldn't surprise me if someone if someone saw that and they said, okay, well, Zain's getting results and he's acting like this, maybe this is a benefit. So I leave the possibility open. I haven't seen it personally, but I leave it open. But I would say that there is counter evidence against it. And
right. Okay.
Yeah, be something to ask about for sure. I'm not sure I take it outright, but I certainly don't think I can dismiss it offhand either.
Yeah. It's a theory, and you know, I've been thinking a lot about like Zain in particular, just because he's winning shit right now. Like, the guy's fucking good, and I do like to think about kind of personality wise and personal history wise and experience wise, like what does set the top players apart from each other, because it is an interesting topic. And that's what we've always had as a scene, is like, you know, just a really cool cast of top players, yourself obviously included. So yeah.
Thank you.
All right,
And
cool. Yeah, no, I'm really glad I got to ask you that.
yeah, absolutely, man.
I'm gonna keep an eye out for it at least. You know, it's a theory if nothing else.
Yeah,
it's a theory.
I certainly can't outright speak against it. Absolutely. So by all
Mhm.
means, let me know how it turns out. I'm very curious, because it's something that I've always kind of wanted to do. Is I've wanted to use my influence,
Oof.
especially with wins. But now with this documentary, I tried to put out that I'm trying to give more good to people. I'm trying to have people be more loving to each other. Have people say
Aw.
like it's okay to hurt, it's okay to feel, it's okay to be human. You don't have to be this strong person, this thing that you put up all the time. It's
Mhm.
okay, and it's certainly okay to be kind. That's not a weakness. So
Yeah,
that's something
yeah.
that like I want to use my platform for whenever possible, is for people to care, because I think there's so much, really, if you want to go this way about it, I think there's so much power in feeling. There's
I
so
was
much
about to say
power.
I was about to say the word power. I was about to say there's
Yeah,
power in my
right.
brain and yours are fucking synced right now, dude.
Heck yeah, man.
I was gonna
And
say the word power.
yeah, and the only reason I hesitate a little bit to use it is because I don't want people to say, okay, well, like I made a mistake in the past where I tried to like be angry too much to use that emotion, and
Mhm.
I was going to be angry to do it, and so you can be powerful from emotion from all sorts of places. You can be powerful from love, and really, I think love is where you perhaps create the most power. That's what I've really been thinking about a ton lately with a lot of stuff I've been working on, and I don't just mean romantic. I think that's one part of it, but I'm really talking about like love for everything, love for nature, love for yourself,
Mm.
love for your community, love for the plant you see, love
Brotherly
for that
love.
street lamp. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah, yeah,
it can
yeah.
be so that is something that I care so much about. And
You did you did meditation for a while, right?
yes, and I I love lamp. Thank you, chat.
I love lamp.
Um, I did, and I do, and now I add in a gratitude meditation element to it, which has been absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, for a little while I was doing like love and kindness meditation, and you're really reminding me of that right
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
Uh,
and it's so important.
mhm, mhm. I that's some good stuff. It's not,
Yeah.
it's yeah.
Well, I'm gonna get some push-ups in.
Okay.
I guess I'm gonna get ready for bed pretty soon,
Fuck yeah,
because
dude.
it's getting a bit late for me over here. But I mean, great talking, man.
Likewise.
I hope chat liked it all right. I wasn't really sure of the vibe. I think things slowed down finally some, but it was good. It was nice to talk. It was nice to kind of clear the
I
air a
thought it was
little
a
bit.
great vibe. I had a
Yeah,
really
it
good
was
time.
good.
I thought that was great. That was so good. We went everywhere, and it was